Welcome to Psychology Truth. Don't skip this moment. Let me ask you a question, and let it hit deep. What if the real way to make her regret losing you is to become the man who doesn't need her anymore? Not out of anger, not out of ego, but from a place of calm detachment, of silent strength, the kind of man she expected to fall apart, but instead evolved. Because right now, you're probably somewhere in the middle of the storm, late nights, overthinking, half-written texts you never sent. You keep checking your phone, hoping she might say something, anything, but the silence is louder than ever. You're not broken, you're just still holding on, to her, to what used to be, to the version of you that didn't know your worth. Here's the truth that Stoicism and dark psychology will both teach you. Regret is not something you can force in someone else. It's something you create by transforming yourself, by going silent, by becoming the man she never thought you'd become without her. This video is not about revenge. It's not about manipulation. It's about power, internal power. And once you reclaim it, that's when everything shifts. If you're ready to become that version of yourself, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment below, I reclaim my power. Let's begin. 1. Accept the fall completely. You cannot rise until you accept that you've fallen. It's that simple, that brutal, that necessary. Most men try to skip this part. They distract themselves, jump into the next situationship. They drink, scroll, flex, post gym selfies pretending they're winning. But inside, they're still stuck in the last unread message, the last cold stare, the last conversation that ended without closure. You have to stand in the wreckage. No filters, no bravado, no pretending. Feel every piece she shattered, because pain, when faced fully, becomes the fuel for transformation. Maybe she ghosted you. Maybe she left you for someone else. Maybe she slipped out with some sugar-coated excuse about finding herself. None of that matters. What matters is this. You are not weak for feeling. You are not crazy for caring. You're human, but don't lie to yourself. Don't numb the pain by pretending it doesn't exist, because the longer you fake strength, the longer you delay the rebuild. Stoicism doesn't promise quick fixes. It demands honesty. It tells you, sit with the pain, let it burn, because the man who can breathe through suffering without collapsing, he becomes something terrifyingly powerful, unshakable. Now here's where dark psychology creeps in. The second you stop trying to resist the pain, the moment you stop bleeding emotionally into her world, she feels it. Not instantly, but deeply. The emotional umbilical cord that connected her ego to your energy, it snaps. And suddenly, the man she thought she could control is gone. If you're done pretending and ready to face the pain like a warrior, comment, I fuel my rise by facing my fall. 2. Cut off her supply, permanently. She left, but she still wants access, not to fix things, not to come back, but to know you're still there, still orbiting her, still watching her stories, still liking her posts, still feeding her ego. That's the supply, and the most powerful move you'll ever make is to shut it off. No just checking in texts, no comments, no digital breadcrumbs. Not because you're bitter, but because you respect yourself too much to be her emotional safety net. Emotional starvation is not cruelty, it's clarity, and psychologically, it shakes her foundation. Because when someone is used to being fed by your presence, your absence doesn't just confuse them, it unsettles them. Suddenly, the guy she thought she had wrapped around her finger isn't reacting, isn't watching, isn't flinching. You've become a ghost, not to haunt her, but to starve her of something she once took for granted, your energy. And in that void, doubt begins to grow. Regret starts to take root. And you're no longer bleeding into a black hole. You're reinvesting into yourself. If you're ready to starve the thing that left you starving, comment below, I cut off the supply and reclaim my energy. 3. Build without broadcasting. Here's where most guys lose the edge. They try to prove their glow up. They post more, flex harder, act unbothered. But understand this, if you have to prove you're winning, you're not. Real growth is silent. Real transformation happens in the dark. No audience, no applause. Just you, your mission, and your discipline. Stoicism whispers, be still. Let your actions do the talking. No cryptic quotes, no "she lost a king" captions. You don't need to perform, you need to build. And when you disappear from her radar, no posts, no thirst traps, no passive-aggressive breadcrumbs, you become unpredictable. And mystery is power. Why? Because dark psychology tells us this. People fear the unknown. They crave patterns. And when you vanish, you break the pattern. Now she's left with silence. A silence she can't read. A blank canvas her mind starts painting on. Is he okay? Is he seeing someone? Did he actually move on? And while her thoughts spiral, you're locked in, reading, training, working, building a life that's bigger than her memory of you. If you're done performing and ready to become a man she can no longer access or understand, comment, I build without an audience. 4. Reframe the entire story. She didn't break you, she revealed you. That's not pain, that's perspective. You didn't lose the one, you lost the illusion. You lost the fantasy that she was your forever, when in reality she was just a lesson dressed as love. This wasn't rejection, this was redirection. She didn't abandon you, she freed you. And now, you've been handed the rarest opportunity to rebuild without apology, to evolve without explanation. Stoicism teaches the obstacle becomes the way. What hurts now will elevate you later if you use it right. And once you stop telling yourself the victim story, once you reframe the narrative from pain to power, you take back control. Your energy changes, and that's what she'll remember. Not your words, not your efforts, your energy. Regret doesn't come from guilt. It comes from comparison. And when she compares the new you to the version she thought she knew, she'll feel the weight of what she let go. Comment below, I rewrite my story with power, not pain. 5. Kill the fantasy. Let's tell the truth. You're not grieving her. You're grieving the idea of her, the version in your mind, the one who understood you, supported you, stayed loyal. But that woman, she never existed. That was your fantasy, and it's time to kill it. The real her ignored your messages, flirted with others, pulled away when you needed her most. That's who left. Not the dream, the reality. Stoicism demands clear perception, seeing what is, not what we wish was. And when you keep feeding the fantasy, you keep feeding the pain. You stay chained to something that was never real. Let go of the illusion, and your emotions reset. Suddenly you realize you don't miss her. You miss the version of her you created in your head. Kill the fantasy, and you kill the addiction. Comment, I bury the fantasy to free my mind. 6. Rewire her perception without saying a word. She thinks she knows you. She thinks you're the guy who cared too much. The one who always reached first. The one who'd always be there. But when that version disappears, silently, permanently, emotionally composed, that's when her perception rewires. Now she can't predict you, and when people can't predict you, they can't control you. That's where regret is born, not because you chased her, but because you didn't. Not because you explained yourself, but because you became someone she never thought you could be. A man she doesn't recognize, but suddenly deeply respects. No messages, no reaction, no explanation, just silence, growth, and a presence that no longer belongs to her world. Comment below. I rewire the narrative by becoming unrecognizable. Final thoughts. This isn't about playing games. It's not about hurting her. It's about remembering yourself. About becoming a man who doesn't need to be missed, because he's too focused on building something greater than a past relationship. So stop chasing closure, stop explaining, stop performing. Silence is your language now. Growth is your revenge. And detachment, that's your power. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I became the man she never saw coming. Welcome to the comeback.